Welcome to Srimati LP Savani Vidya Bhavan, Social Science Standard 10th. Good morning, students. We are back to our topic of India Agriculture, Part 2. Now we are going to see the different oil seeds that are produced in India, starting with groundnut. Groundnut holds an important position in oil seeds. Black soil, mixture of loamy and sandy soil, land which would not retain water, 20 degree to 25 degree Celsius temperature and 50 to 70 centimeter rainfall are the favorable conditions for growing groundnut. It is a kharif crop, and wherever there is irrigation facilities, groundnut can be sown during summer also. Gujarat, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu and Maharashtra are major producers of groundnut. India ranks second after China in the world in the production of groundnut. Gir, Somnath, Amreli, Rajkot, Bhavnagar, etc. districts produce groundnut. Groundnut oil is used as edible oil in Gujarat. Next is sesame or til. Til is used in India since ages. In North India, it is a rain-based kharif crop. In South India, til is sown as rabi crop and occasionally as a zaid crop also. Almost all the states grow til. Til has more oil content as compared to other oil seeds. Almost all parts of the world, it is used as edible oil. Major producers of til are Gujarat, Tamil Nadu, West Bengal, Karnataka and Madhya Pradesh. Gujarat ranks first in India in terms of production of til. Maximum export of til in the world is done by India. Mustard seeds. This is a rabi crop and is an important crop of North India. Mustard seeds and its oil are used for medicine and also as an edible oil. Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, West Bengal, Gujarat and Madhya Pradesh are the major producers of mustard. Next is coconut. Coconut is a plantation crop of hot and humid coastal climate and saline land. We all know that coconut grows in the coastal areas and the land which is there, found there is soil is saline land. Okay. In India, the coconut plantations are found in Karnataka, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Andaman, Nicobar, and in Gujarat also we have the coastal regions. In South India, coconut oil is extracted from coconut kernel and this oil is used as edible oil. Our next topic is castor oil. Castor is also known as Divela locally. It is both a kharif crop as well as a rabi crop. 64% with 64%, India is the largest producer of castor in the world. China and Brazil come next chronologically. 80% of its production comes from Gujarat. Andhra Pradesh and Rajasthan also produces castor. Now we are going to see certain hot beverages that are grown in India, starting with tea. Tea is a plant of tropical as well as temperate zone. Means it can be grown in tropical and temperate zone. The tea leaf and its tender sprouts are processed and then its powder and small leaves are used as drink. India produces maximum tea after China. Sri Lanka, China and India are leading exporters of tea. Slopy land where the water easily flows down, good iron content, 20 to 30 degrees Celsius of temperature and about 200 centimeter of rainfall, which comes in the form of showers throughout the year, are the favorable conditions for tea plantations. Tea is grown in Assam, West Bengal, Uttarakhand, Uttar Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka. Assam and West Bengal produces 75% of the tea of our nation. The tea leaves are very skillfully plucked from these plants. Next beverage is coffee. Coffee is reared over the slopes of mountains in the shades of larger trees in such a way that no direct sunlight falls on the coffee leaves. That means the direct sunlight should not fall on the coffee plant, and for this reason these coffee plants are being grown under the shade of a large tree. The coffee crop needs 150 to 200 centimeter rainfall and 15 degree to 28 degrees Celsius temperature, slopy mountain land. Coffee is grown in abundance in Karnataka, Kerala and Tamil Nadu, and Coorg is a well-known region for coffee production. Coffee seeds are extracted out of the nuts, grinded, and then it is used as drink. Cocoa is prepared out of the seeds of cocoa fruit. It is also used as a beverage. Cocoa is prepared from cocoa. It requires hot and humid climate and excessive rainfall. African countries are the major producers of cocoa. In India, cocoa is produced in Kerala, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu states. Now we will see certain cash crops grown in India. First is cotton. Cotton is a kharif crop. At world level, India is at the second place in the production, usage and export of cotton. We stand second in the world in the matter of production, means we produce the usage also and the export of cotton. In all these matters, India stands second in the world. This cotton is known as white gold in India. Beside the cotton seed, oil is used as edible oil, and its seeds and oil cakes are used as animal food. Black lava soil, which can retain humidity for a longer time. Soil with plenty of mineral contents, hot and humid climate, 20 degree to 35 degrees Celsius temperature and 30 to 70 centimeter rainfall are the favorable conditions for cotton. The season for growing cotton is about 6 to 8 months. Frost damages the cotton crops. Means if frost occurs, it is not good for the crop. Major cotton producing states are Gujarat, Maharashtra, Telangana, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Haryana, Rajasthan, Punjab, Tamil Nadu, Odisha, etc. Gujarat stands first in India in area, sown, productivity, total production and quality of cotton. Next, sugarcane. Sugarcane is a major crop in India. Maximum sugarcane is shown in India in the world. India ranks second after Brazil. Sugar, good, khansari and ethanol are produced out of sugarcane. Black, fertile, alluvial lava soil, hot and humid climate, 210 to 270 degrees Celsius temperature. It is not 21 to 27, not 200, sorry, it has been misprinted in the textbook. 75 to 100 centimeters of rainfall are necessary for sugarcane. Uttar Pradesh is at the top in area sown, whereas Maharashtra leads in production. So, by area sown, first is Uttar Pradesh, whereas maximum production is done in Maharashtra. Gujarat and Saurashtra also produce sugarcane in Gujarat. The next cash crop is jute. India produces maximum of jute in the world. The jute fiber is called as golden fiber. We make cloth, gunny bags, mattresses, ropes, bags, footwears, handicraft. This kind of items are made out of jute. India has a strong competition with cheap laborers of Bangladesh in this jute industry. This means that Bangladesh also produces jute, but even though we have a huge production, but the labor in India is costlier as compared to Bangladesh. Thus, there is a competitive situation to be faced by India with Bangladesh. Jute requires the fertile soil of delta region where new sediment is deposited every year, hot and humid climate, 30 to 40 degrees Celsius temperature and more than 100 centimeter rainfall. Jute is grown more in Ganga Delta in West Bengal, Assam, Bihar, Orissa and Uttar Pradesh. Next is tobacco. Tobacco is a kharif crop. Sandy loamy soil, 20 degrees Celsius temperature, 100 centimeter rainfall are suitable for tobacco cultivation. 4 countries in the world which grow and export tobacco are China, Brazil, India, USA, Gujarat, Andhra Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh and Karnataka are the producers of tobacco in our country. Charotar region of Kheda district, Anand, Mehsana, Vadodara grow more tobacco. In Gujarat, about 80% of BD tobacco of India is produced in Gujarat. Tobacco consumption is harmful to health. Sikkim is the first state who has banned tobacco and gutkha. This should be done everywhere. Rubber is prepared out of milk oozing out from latex trees. Milk comes out from latex trees and that is being collected. Then acetic acid is mixed with this milk which is collected from the rubber plantations and it is heated on low temperature to obtain rubber. Rubber is used in many industrial products like tires, tubes, etc. And rubber plantation is carried out in regions of hot and humid climate and heavy rainfall. Malaysia ranks first in the world in rubber production. In India, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Assam and Tripura are rubber producing states. Condiments and spices. Many different condiments and spices are being produced in India. India contributes about 35% in the total world production of condiments. In India, black pepper, cinnamon, clove, etc. are in high demand in the countries of the world. Ashwagandha, tulsi, karyatu, avla, etc. These are all the medicinal plants and which are grown in India or found in India. Moreover, mint, menthol, lemongrass, etc. are included as flavored crops. Fruits, vegetables and flowers. There is a huge variety of fruits and vegetables and flowers found in our country. India ranks second after China in the production of fruits. Various fruits like banana, mango, apple, grapes, naspati, orange are found in India, grown in India. Bananas are grown in Tamil Nadu, Gujarat and Maharashtra, apples in Jammu Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh and grapes in Uttarakhand, Maharashtra, Himachal Pradesh, Jammu Kashmir and Punjab. As the grape production is less than its demand, it is imported from Afghanistan, Pakistan and Australia. Besides, various vegetables are grown. Flowers like rose, jui, mogra, etc. are cultivated. Thus, various crops are grown in India. Earlier, farming was carried out by simple and ordinary farm implements in India. Farm implements like spade, powder, what we call as hoe, drill, plow, bullock cart. These were the implements used for farming. But now modern implements have been started. Use of modern implements has started like tractor, trailer, rotavators, etc. So the changes which have taken place in seeds, fertilizers and farm implements in India are known as technical reforms. Now we are going to see what are the technical reforms that have taken place in our agriculture. The farmer who earlier used leather buckets and water wheel now uses submersible pumps or monoblock pump, solar pump, drip irrigation and sprinklers. Right? This means that now the water wheels which were used previously, in place of that the farmers have started using different types of water pumps. Chemical fertilizers like diammonia phosphate, DAP, nitrogen, phosphorus, potash, NPK, urea and other biofertilizers, liquid biofertilizer, biotech seeds are used. Farmers are constantly guided through radio, television, newspaper, DD Kisan channel, SMS on mobile by the Kisan toll-free number. The government toll-free number of the government, farm web portals, iKhedut, and mobile apps like agriculture. These are all the different things available on a digital platform for the farmers. New agriculture research and new techniques are conveyed to farmers in villages by Gram Sevak. A farmer training center is established in every district and quarter where the farmers are given training. Every center is having every area of district of a state is having a training center wherever whatever new things are being coming into the agriculture sector, that is being introduced and taught to the farmers. Recent information and guidance are also provided to the farmers through agriculture fairs in Gujarat. Agriculture universities and colleges are established in every state. Universities are established in Dantewada, Junagadh, Anand and Navsari in Gujarat. These universities, they carry out research and prepares new experts in agriculture. Besides this, Indian Council of Agriculture, that is ICAR, and the Department of Agriculture Research and Education, DARE, are active at a national level. These two institutions, that is the ICAR and DARE, are the institutions working at a national level. Let us see the institutional reforms. The reforms connected with land ownership, crop subsidy and sale of farm produce are considered to be the institutional reforms in India. Government has discarded landlordism and stopped the exploitation of farmers. Landlordism means zamindari, which was previously being done, under which the farmers were exploited, especially the poor farmers. That system has been abolished now. Under the law, land to the tiller, the land tillers have been given their right to become the owner of the land. Number 2, the disparity among the landowners has been removed by Land Ceiling Act. Farmers are given financial help for crop subsidy by Kishan Credit Card and by nationalized and cooperative banks. Kishan Credit Card is also available for the farmers to buy their farm products like seeds and fertilizers and everything. And this credit card they can use in the nationalized and cooperative banks. Farmers are given full insurance protection of their crops through Prime Minister Crop Insurance Scheme. This we have already understood about this scheme in the chapter of that removing of poverty. When the crops fail due to drought and through excessive rain, farmers are given financial help by government. At present, wherever heavy rain is there, flooded situations are there, in those areas we can see the government will be announcing some kind of help for the farmers whose crops have been damaged. By providing legal support, an open auction process is made widespread for the sale of farm products in the marketing yards. Facilities like cooperative society, market associations, cooperative warehouse, cold storages, transportation and communication, etc. have been provided so that the farmers would get maximum support price of the farm products. Certain organizations which are operating for the purchase of farm products from the farmers at support price are: first, NAFED, National Agriculture Cooperative Marketing Federation of India, GroFed, Gujarat Cooperative Oilseed Growers Federation, Federation, NDDB, National Dairy Development Board. Let us see about Green Revolution. Green Revolution took place in our country in 1960, in the decade of 1960. But before that, there was a time where There was an acute shortage of food grains in the country. An agrarian country had to import food grains. That was the situation. The country was struggling against such dependent conditions. But the extraordinary increase in the agricultural products because of improved seeds, increased use of chemical fertilizers, intense efforts of the farmers, widespread arrangement of electricity distribution, improved facility in irrigation, etc. This led us to a situation where today we are independent. We are not dependent on any other countries for our food grains. So this situation is called as Green Revolution. The main objective of Green Revolution was to increase agricultural production. Farmers were encouraged to use chemical fertilizers and insecticides more. This led to attain the target to increase the agricultural production. There has been a record production of wheat and paddy due to Green Revolution. Where there was a scarcity of food grains in the country, today there is sufficient storage of the food grains. Means we also have a buffer stock to cope up with the critical situations. Once drought was a hazard of regular interval in India, its adverse effects are not seen after the Green Revolution. That means previously when drought was there, obviously when drought is there, no production takes place. But now with Green Revolution, we are in a situation that we have a buffer stock of food grains. The conditions of drought, of scarcity are faced conveniently because of this extra stock. The self-sufficiency in food grains is a landmark of historic achievement of Green Revolution. Today, the production of cash crops has increased and the production of pulses and the cereals has also. Now let us see the role of agriculture in Indian economy. The pressure which India had at the time of independence is now reduced somewhat. However, it still has an important contribution in Indian economy. Agriculture provides employment to about 1/2 of the population of the country. Agriculture holds 17% of the total gross domestic product, that is the GDP. Paddy, wheat, oil, seeds, cotton, jute, sugarcane, tobacco, potatoes, etc. are major agricultural products of India. Much foreign exchange is earned with the export of these products. India ranks second in the world in agrarian production. Industries like cotton, textile, sugar, paper, oil, etc., as well as the industries regarding the food processing, get their raw material from agriculture products. Agriculture provides food to the people of India. Thus, the Indian contribution is not consistent in the world agriculture market because of irregular and uncertain rain and inadequate facilities for irrigation. This means that yes, we have improved at our national level, but still we need to go ahead to be leading a country at a international level. We'll see the impact of globalization on Indian agriculture. The policy of globalization has been implemented with a purpose that the Indian farmer can sell his farm products in world markets and earn profit, right? This globalization was started with an intent that our products can be available at a global level. The process of export and import of crops productions is made very simple. Okay, the process of import and exporting has been made simple so that maximum exchange can take place. Cotton, chilies and til are now available in Chinese markets, and various fruits from world are now available in Indian markets. This is possible because of the easy policies of import and export. The costly genetically modified BT seeds which are made by the multinational companies are also available in our markets. The import becoming smoother, the domestic farm products have to face tough competition. right? Because the imports have become very smooth, the domestic products which are available in our own country, they have to face a tough competition with the imported things. Some products have gained global market, hence the necessity of registration of their patents has arisen, right? It is necessary to register qualitative farm productions as national patent in the world market. If we are producing particular things with particular quality, it becomes necessary to get it patent at a national patent if we are going at a world market. To face the competition in agriculture products in global market, India will have to adopt new technology and concentrate on quality. Yet a long way to go. We have to if we want to face this competition and lead ourselves at an international level, then India has to adopt new technologies and can concentrate more on its quality, with a challenge of satisfying the demands or the requirements of increasing population. It is a need to have a second green revolution. With this, we have completed our chapter number 10, India and India agriculture.